Hi, this is Glenn Hughes and the Newport Beach Film Festival rocks.
This is a Blairing Out with Eric Blair show at the 2014 Newport Beach Film Festival with the voice of rock, Glenn Hughes, celebrating the premiere of the Quiet Riot movie. Well, now you're here, there's no way back.
Nice to see you, Eric.
Glenn, so we are here to celebrate the Quiet Riot movie.
Yeah, what a movie, what a life, to actually celebrate and go through this whole chronically the band that we all loved in the early 80s and the things that have happened since, before, afterwards, now, and it's great that we can actually see this and be part of this.
You know, one of the funny things is that I guess out of 100 drummers, one of 3 of those drummers was Frankie Benelli that played on Hughes Thrall.
Yeah. We were auditioning drummers for a while, and we must have auditioned 50 people, and Frankie came in, and he had this way about him and the way he played drums, and he had a great vibe to him, and he you know, was a family guy, and we were all young men, and we looked up to Frankie, and he looked up to us, and he's been a dear friend of mine, like a brother for many years.
What was your relationship like with Kevin Dubrow?
Well, Kevin and I were very close the last 7 or 8 years of his life. We were close before that, but towards the sort of the latter part of his life, we were very close, and he stayed at my house quite a lot, and we were quite inseparable. He would go on the road, and we'd come back to Vegas, then he'd come down to me, and we'd hang out, and we'd go for dinner, or go to the movies, and, you know, go for a run, and go to the gym, and, you know, we were about as close as 2 guys could get as friends, and the rest is rock and roll history. But more than the rock and roll, Kevin was a really highly intelligent man who had a real grasp of himself as, one, being an artist, and second, being a friend. When you sort of like separate them, you know, it's really more interesting, and we loved each other as people, and we had a lot of laughter in our friendship, which was highly important, so I miss him so much.
Glenn, why do you feel that it's important for documentaries like this to come out?
Well, especially with Quiet Riot, because it was, you know, there's been so many people coming and going, and, you know, of course, Randy was in the band first, you know, then they had the hit when Carlos was in there, and it was like, you know, Rudy, and then Chuck, and Kevin was, and Frankie were the you know, basically the 2 main dudes, if you will. You know, Randy, you know, maybe should have been there when they had but he was with Ozzy, so. But for me, I've known them for so long before they had the hits, you know, so I've been very close to them, and to see what, you know, particularly Frankie has been through, has been a really good friend to me, and I've been sort of inside looking in and outside looking in on this for quite some time, and to be, you know, and to be of service, if I can be of service or help, or to be there when people need me to be there, and to give my help to them that need it. It's important.
Well, Glenn, you rode the roller coaster of rock and roll.
I did.
And you survived it. You more than survived. You've thrived.
Yeah, I did about everything you could do without, you know, ending it. For me, I had to have had enough of everything bad for me until it didn't work any longer. You know, I was surrendered. Unfortunately, Kevin never got to that point, you know. I mean, I've lost Tommy Bolin, John Bonham. The list is endless, the people I've lost through the disease of alcoholism or drug addiction. Did I know Kevin was that sick? No, not really. Did I know Tommy Bolin was that sick? Kinda. But no one can get sober or clean. with any. You have to actually want to have it yourself. You can count. In fact, well, I've lost count of the people that tried to get me sober and clean. It was frightening, you know, until I'd absolutely had enough of it to stop. Unfortunately, with Kevin, none of us really knew, and you know, say Frankie especially, we never really knew how desperate he was to get clean and sober. And, you know, be quite honest with you, he was kind of, you know, hanging with me a lot, knowing that I was sober and clean, but he's a highly intelligent man, but drugs and alcohol, they just take everybody, you know. So it was devastating when Kevin died, and devastating.
I think it's so important that you made the point that people can't help themselves until they want to help themselves.
No, it really is. Look, I wasn't 5 years old grabbing on my mother's apron going, "Mommy, when I'm a man, can I be a drug addict?" It's not that. It's just in your genes. It's like can skip generations. It's a family disease, you know. It's what it is. You know, some of us have it, some of us don't. You know.
Glenn,
but you have to treat it.
Yeah.
You have to treat it.
Well, if you want to be awesome like Glenn Hughes, you do.
Well, you know, to be awesome and to be alive is really more important than to be an awesome musician. But to be, you know, standing on my own, breathing on the right side of the grass, talking to you is.
Yeah. Well, I think, Glenn, you've been at a point in your life since you've gotten clean and sober where you're much more thankful for the little things.
I am. It's without being. Going too dark, you know, when I think and we think about the people, famous or not famous, that we have lost. Remember, when we lose someone, we've lost a friend who's lost, the parents have lost a son, the grandparents have lost a grandparent, friends have lost a friend, work friends have lost work friends. It's when you lose one person, it's hundreds and hundreds and sometimes thousands of people are affected by whatever it is, you know. The biggest dilemma for me when Kevin passed away was, could I have been there? He was supposed to be at my home. It's in the movie. It's you know, he wasn't there. I mean, could I have done something? I mean, I beat myself up. There's nothing I could have done. It was written in the wind that what was going to happen. I had no say-so. You know, I've been around, you know, this for so long with my own recovery that there's nothing I could have done, or I would have done it. Yeah. Believe me.
Recently, the Ronnie James Dio tribute album came out, and we were at the opening, and people were praising your rendition of "Catch the Rainbow." Tell me about recording that.
You know, when Ronnie passed away, I was in Bologna, Italy, when Ronnie died. I knew he was not well that day, and the day after Ronnie passed, I flew back home and I met with Wendy. And we, you know, I was getting the funeral arrangements ready, and Wendy asked me, she took me aside and she asked me if I would sing a Ronnie song at the memorial, and the private one, and then the one with the, and I said, whatever you need. And I just looked up and I said, Ronnie, help me out here. And she asked me to sing Catch the Rainbow, and I knew the song. I've never sang the song before, but I guess that, hey, I was supposed to sing that song, so what am I going to say? I mean, of course, I learnt the song, and, you know, and then, of course, you know, later the tribute CD came, and I think I may have been the first one to go in and sing. I think I did. I think I sang like 2 or 3 years ago, you know, before most people did. And with Ronnie, you know, we've lost Ronnie through another thing. Ronnie had cancer, and, you know, and once again, people get taken. Look, how many people has that affected?
Oh, tons of people.
Kevin, Ronnie, and the list is, we can talk about this forever, how we've lost people, but we have to celebrate these people, celebrate Ronnie, and we have to celebrate Kevin, you know, but with Ronnie, such a tiny guy, and such a sweet, the biggest voice in rock, a kind, considerate man. I knew Ronnie since 1973 when he was opening for Purple, and I befriended Ronnie because I walked on the stage and I heard this huge voice. I'm going, where's it coming from? And It's coming from that guy there, you know. And you know, Ronnie and I always laughed about, you know, I was bigger than he was, but I learned so much from him about, you know, how to deal with people, and he was a big brother to me, as he was with many, many artists, you know.
Some people say that one of the kindest men in rock. Now, California Breed, your new band, rave reviews. Tell me what's going on with that.
California Breed, when Jason and I left Black Country Communion, we took a couple of months off, and then I ran into Julian Lennon at a party in LA the night before the Grammys, and he invited me to come, and I was there, and it was getting late, and I was on my way home, and he said, wait, before you go, there's a guy I want you to meet, this young man from New York, Andrew Watt. So Andrew Watt comes to me, and we talk about music, and I'm going, this kid sounds kind of interesting. Do you have anything you can send to me so I can listen to it? He sent me some music, and it was so good and so energized that I said, you got to come to my house. He lived in New York. He said, come to my house next week, and he came to my house, and we wrote a couple of songs. We went in the studio with Jason, made these songs, and we realized, hey, you know, there's a possibility that this could be a really great new band. And then over the course of last year, we kept it very, very quiet, because when you're working with a new guy, you know, in a new band, we didn't want to really go on the internet and talk about it. So we quietly went about making an album last December in Nashville, and now everybody's getting to hear it, and you know, everybody seems to be grooving on it, and Jason and I are very, very happy to introduce Andrew Watt to everybody. He's a great, great new musician, 23 years old. So I got that to take care of and deal with him and love him, and he's a wonderful young man. And Jason is playing as just probably the best drums he's ever played. His dad would be so proud of him.
Now, lastly, Glenn, it's known historically in rock and roll that you lived with David Bowie in 1975, correct? During the
76.
During the making of Station to Station.
It was 75, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It was the summer of 75, and he was about to make Station to Station and Man Who Fell to Earth, and he came out to me in April privately on a train alone from New York, which was bizarre for Bowie, and he came out to my house, and whilst getting ready to record Station to Station and prepare for the movie role of Man Who Fell to Earth, and it was an interesting period because nobody really knew David was at my house, and then everybody found out about it, and I had to have security at the house, and it was pretty wild. But David was and still is a wonderful, wonderful human being.
What did you learn from him?
To change and forever change, and never stay still, and completely be a kind of a chameleon kind of thing, which I've always done.
This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with Glenn Hughes.
It's him. It's him.
Signing off. Bye-bye.
The Blairing Out show.